Hello and welcome. It's so good to have you here with us. I'm Nina Roberts Salveson, founder of Being Human Life and co-founder of the Being Human Life Institute. And I have here with me my colleagues and senior faculty, Michele Rae and Theresa Nutt. And we are so excited to be here with you today. The purpose for today's webinar is to explore the ways in which we access and develop our subtle ways of knowing, all of our intuition, our gifts, and our clairs. And so we're here today to really look at how we can accelerate our personal transformation and that of others as transformational coaches and facilitative leaders. And so I'd like to share with you very briefly an overview of the Being Human Life Institute. Michele and I founded the Institute in 2018. It began as a series of events, programs, retreats, and an immersion series. And we really felt compelled and called to dive deeper. And as master coaches and facilitative leaders, and with many years of experience, the three of us have really taken the deeper dive into understanding and developing a methodology and a transformational model that cuts across neuroscience and spirituality, mysticism, different disciplines in psychology, and the best, most leading edge skills and competencies in personal professional coaching. And so we're very excited to be here today to explore with you one of our core topics that is passionate to all of us. And I'd like to share with you an appreciative statement that really speaks to today. And we feel that it really encapsulates all of the different intuitive gifts and capacities that we each have within us. And I'd like to share it with you. You are a vibrant and brilliant soul. You have the gift of insight and are exceptional at making things happen in all of your various magic. Light emanates from your core, illuminating all who come into contact with you. Like the sun, you bring a generous warmth. Your soul has power and your purpose lies deep within you. Bring your stunning colors to all you encounter today. The world needs your unique beauty and vivacious heart. We are lucky to have you in the world. I'll turn it over to you, Michele.
Thank you, Nina. That's beautiful. What a positive affirmation. So Michele Rae here, my lovely colleagues, and delighted to be part of the Being Human Life Institute. We are very excited about our upcoming workshop series to get to know us and the material that we have found to be so valuable in our own training and education, as well as in our practice as leaders and coaches in the world. A little bit about my background. I'm a nationally board certified health and wellness coach, as well as a registered pharmacist. And I have had leadership positions in a number of different organizations, for-profit and nonprofit, and have been teaching at the University of Minnesota, the Center for Spirituality and Healing, for a number of years, so a couple decades nearing at this point. And I am very passionate about supporting people who are really wanting to have access to their full multidimensional self and to have impact in the world. So many of my clients are coaches themselves, are practitioners, are leaders and visionaries that really understand we're going through this time in human development, that we have capacities that are building that weren't accessible to us before. And maybe like you, I know for sure, my two colleagues, this is true, our whole life had access to our intuition. I can feel things kinesthetically in my body when I work with clients. I have pictures that come that help me discern and understand things that are just on the outside of my perceptive capacity. And over the years, I have played with a variety of ways of knowing, developing, paying attention to synchronicity, understanding archetypes, right? And physically gaining access to perceiving subtle energies, emotionally being able to pick up and read a room I'm, for instance, leading a meeting at, and also in mentally. I don't know about you, but maybe for me, it comes in dreams. Sometimes it comes in that space between wake and dream. So we're excited to share some of our insights and information on this particular topic as we talk to you also further about this upcoming really amazing 6-month deep dive into a variety of topics on advanced facilitative leadership and coaching skills, as well as this capacity, as Nina already talked about, of human development and the process of transformation. So to continue to accelerate our own process and also to support others in whatever way we do that. So I'm delighted to have you here, and I'm going to turn over the introduction to Ms. Theresa.
Thank you, Michelle and Nina both. It is such a delight to be with both of you and this audience. And I just want to start with, yes, I will tell you more about myself in a minute, but the deep joy that I feel inside of me to be called to this work. I think all three of us, as you said, Michelle, we've been cultivating a number of skills all of our life, not by choice necessarily. I don't think either one of us or any one of us went looking for this particular set of skills, and yet it feels so innate to us that it is what we are called to be doing at this time on the planet. And all of us have gone through some, challenges, ups and downs, as we've learned our skills and been through some things that we want to support others in going through. And that's the ripple effect that this type of programming creates. It's both about our process, but also about supporting others who are not only wanting to accelerate their own process, but go and have a bigger impact by doing that with others. So just wanting to share my heartfelt gratitude for this moment in time and this opportunity to do the work I'm called to do. So as everyone mentioned, I'm Theresa. I've been a registered nurse for more than 25 years at this point in my life and worked in a number of settings. Much like Michelle, I've done leadership, I've done process improvement. It always makes me giggle a little bit just thinking about me helping people make their processes more efficient, because people who knew me growing up know I'm a very creative poet and singer and artist. And so fascinating that that's another facet of me. But also, I think as a coach who's been a coach more than 20 years in different settings, nationally board certified in health and wellness coaching, and have done a lot of life coaching, I'm struck by also, you were sharing the kind of clients coming through your door, and the ones coming through my door right now are really, I almost feel like they've been the hiding healers. That's what I tell them when I work with them. It's like we're midwifing their truest work in the world. And so we cultivate, they all tell me, you're like an archaeologist. We're doing a dig. Yes. So fun to just find the gifts, find all of the medicine they've been gathering all of their lifetime, and see what expression they're meant to serve in this time of rapid transformation that we call the new era. And it's such a delight to do that work. I also work at the University of Minnesota and do some work there as a faculty and have for 7 years, and also the University of California, Irvine. So a number of places. But this work in particular, as I was listening to both Nina and Michelle, I just want to end with, I was struck by the word curator. I feel like what the three of us have done, Nina and Michelle started the process, and I'm just contributing at this point, have curated the best material on how to truly transform, how to develop and accelerate our capacity to reach others, in particular today about the many ways we access intuition. And so it's fun to be in this studio of our curated wisdom together as we start. So I'm going to invite the sharing of the screen and mute myself. Thank you, Nina, for taking us away.
Well, we have a few slides to share, and we are here to welcome you to the Being Human Life Institute. And The topic for today is how we develop and access all of our subtle ways of knowing, our intuition and our clairs. And we're really excited about this particular topic because, as already mentioned by Michele and Theresa, that we have all been developing these capacities within ourselves all of our lives. And I'm sure that that is true for all of us. So a little bit about the Being Human Life Institute. We really are founded on the mission and the vision for building a local and a national as well as global community through our advanced transformational coaching and facilitative leadership training and development, really embracing a methodology and a process that cuts across different disciplines. And we are especially unique in this way in that our broad breadth of experience and training in adult human development really embraces us, to really support certified or licensed coaches, practitioners, therapists, visionaries, and leaders, all who are really ready to align and to integrate their whole being in their work, in their service in the world, in whatever ways we all have to assist and guide others in their own personal process of empowered transformational and personal professional development. And this illustrates our transformational coaching methodology, in which we look at psychological constructs and transpersonal psychology, adult human development, positive psychology, and neuroscience, and moving broadly into the expansive scope of the health and well-being of the whole person, really looking at a humanistic approach to really embracing the wholeness and the inner resourcefulness that we believe that all human beings are bright and capable and have their own inner resourcefulness, which holds the key to all of our own answers within us. And of course, our process and our model is very integrative in the sense that we really integrate and unite the spiritual, the emotional, the mental, the physical, and the somatic in an integrative approach to transformation. And of course, we work with the whole person, and we really like to use the phrase whole being in terms of really supporting how we can work in an accelerated manner with the tools and working with energy and working with the transformational methodologies, including some of the energy techniques and methods that really support human transformation. So what are the ways of knowing, and why does it matter? So we're really excited about this training and offering this course as a deep dive and an immersive experience, in that not only is it experiential, supporting our own spiritual and personal professional development, but it really encompasses the tools, the skills, and the facilitative methods that really help us expand into new perspectives, expanding consciousness, really looking at and understanding the phase of human evolution that we're really all experiencing right now, emerging toward a new human era, which we really don't know what the future is going to look like. But we do know that if we're here today, we know that we're all called in some way to be a part of truly co-creating whatever the new era is ultimately going to look like. And as such, we're being called to embody more skills, our higher intelligence, our greater, deeper capacities beyond our cognitive abilities and our physical senses, but also these deeper inner ways of knowing and perceiving and being able to embody them so that we can express them in the world. And so what we know are in terms of all of the various intelligence that we have access to, our most fundamental intelligence beyond our 5 physical senses, of course, is our cognitive and our emotional skills. What we use to develop our capacity for meaning, for vision and value. And our 5 physical senses are constantly working for us and with us, transmitting information about our environment. And these are developed, early on in our lives and are often utilized for protection. But when we begin to look more deeply at the inner spiritual capacity, we are looking at our broader potential. And that means that we have these intuitive senses that we're all aware of. We all are aware that we have an intuitive sense. Perhaps one feels stronger than the other, and we call these the clairs. And there are more that we will look at and explore in this particular course. But as we move to the next slide, we're really going to look at just for purposes of identifying just a few and the most common, we look at the 4 main spiritual intuitive clairs that we have to access, and that we can probably identify at least 1 or maybe 2 of these. The clairvoyance, the inner seeing, it's a sense of the capacity to see color, to see light, to maybe see others' auras and fields around them. The clairaudience, inner hearing. Some people have a strong developed gift of being able to hear sounds or hear voices and have clear insight through the audio. Clairaudient gift. Claircognizant is one that has always been quite strong for me and is probably my strongest, and that is the claircognizance of a clear inner knowing. It doesn't come through as a voice, it doesn't come through as a color or a sound, it's just a feeling, and usually sparked in me with a physical sensation of profound warmth in my solar plexus, and there's just a clear thought that comes through as clear knowing. Clairsentient refers to the emotional insight that we often have about others. And this is a very common clair intelligence that many of us experience as highly sensitive beings. We came into the earth having a highly developed empathic and compassionate capacity to really see, feel, tune into the emotions and the feelings of others. And so those are the 4 main spiritual intuitive clairs. And as I mentioned, there are many others that we will explore in our deep dive in our course. And so I'll pass the baton to Michele.
Thank you, Nina. It's fun to be thinking about all these clairs and to be imagining and recognizing and paying attention to them. I feel like that's part of us being more of who we are, as you're talking about the ways that you have such strong clairs developed as well. And this is a model from a book I wrote that talks about how we have access always to the clairs, but we as a vessel of perceiving might be in tune with more of the 5 physical senses as opposed to some of these subtler ways of knowing. So how I think of our human development is that inner circle where we start in our human development as an individual, and we really believe that what we know ends with the end of our skin. Like, right, I have my own ideas, I have my own emotions, I have my own experiences. And what we recognize as we open to clairs and subtle ways of knowing is that we are our own individual self, and we're part of this interconnected field. And so all of a sudden we might start noticing triple numbers, or, I have a thing with hawks. that they speak to me like they're medicine, right? And there's a way I've had an encounter with the whales in the ocean where I feel like I can feel them inside of me. And so I feel as though we continue to develop our access to those types of clairs, but they're always present. The energy is always present in the morphic field. And what we can do as we develop is to increase our access to those subtle ways of knowing. And then I would be surprised if anyone listening hasn't had some experience of being part of that infinite. Like I feel like the whole cosmos lives inside of my awareness, where we, like even subject and object disappear, where we're in that blissful state, whether it's a runner's high or just getting lost in time and space and being able to experience that. And when we have these different levels of experiencing ourselves, it continues to enhance our capacity to pick up on and notice the clairs, and then not put them back in the small box of just our individual self. We can remain in that open, interconnected place where we don't have to feel like we have to rush to do something about it or fix something about it or talk to somebody about it. We can just go about the day experiencing our heightened five senses and then these subtle ways of knowing. And I feel another way that I think about it is if I'm in my ego, right, and I'm more in fear and judgment and comparing and get arrogant, I like literally don't have my awareness available to notice these subtle ways of knowing. But when I live in my soul, which is more in that interconnected realm, we can start to have access to this great web of life, as it says here. I start noticing patterns and relationships and how things build on one another and how they're interconnected. And in that condition, there are practices that we offer in, and we'll do one a little bit later. Theresa's going to lead a practice for us to open our access to our more subtle ways of knowing. But we can practice through mindfulness practices or transformative practices that we can keep that knowing of I in that soul level of existence, all the while our individual self is there, our ego self is there in its right position, right, in its right place, so that we can move about the day and feel, oh, I think I'm going to turn this way instead of that way, or I'm noticing and hearing a voice, or there's a smell that is happening, right, that isn't actually in this three-dimensional world. And to be able to enjoy being human at that level of interconnection is really a treat for me. One of the ways that I have found the access to this, and I'd be curious as we continue in our talk today, is this witness perspective. So there's an aspect of me that's like a mirror, right, that has this ability to experience something without judgment, just noticing it. And through that, when I'm having an experience, and I have also access to the observer part of me, it develops that soul part, that interconnected part that has some space where I'm not completely consumed in or overwhelmed in that, in the individual, in the cut off from, right, being able to notice the subtle energies. And also as I even move behind the witness observer, beyond, again, the subject and object, to be able to open my awareness to whatever is occurring at all the multidimensional ways that I am in the world at a soul level, quantum level, connection to source, right? That this skill building of a witness observer is one thing I'll just offer as a takeaway from today, that if you practice noticing, right, that definition of mindfulness without judgment, what's actually occurring in this present moment, both in my inner workings, right, my own thoughts, my own feelings, my own physical sensations, as well as what might be happening for another that I'm having a conversation with, for instance, as well as maybe a whole room, right? I can witness that, and even beyond that. And that's one of the ways I feel like has been most useful for me in developing this muscle, so to speak, of multidimensional awareness. And one of the other things that I have found to be really helpful of accessing more ways of knowing is through a variety of playing with the Enneagram and self-discovery, Myers-Briggs, the strength finders, right? There's all these kinds of really interesting reflection questions, meditation, guided meditation, journaling that help me to more consistently have access, a sustainable access to my multidimensional self and ways of knowing. So it's been fun and to play with that. And we have some tools that we can offer here today, and the ones that I just mentioned, but also in the 6-month class that's coming up, we're going to take a deeper dive every single month, which has its own module and topic, and be able to have some information presented, some PowerPoints that are narrated. We're going to be able in the second week to get together live for 2 hours and really practice together and share our experiences. And the third week of every month, every module, is going to be time for you to do an assessment, offer some reflection questions. And the fourth time we get together in the module, you as participants in the class are going to be invited to do some teaching and coaching and facilitated leadership and to offer some assessments or some experiential. So I'm really excited not only to take the deep dive with the those of us here, but also the wisdom of those who will be participating to be able to have that kind of support and information shared from them, because as we all know, we're all students and teachers any given moment. And Theresa, with that, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Michelle and Nina, for your lovely introduction to the topics. And Michelle, something you said I wanted to just highlight. It's so interesting when you talk about the applying of our clairs and developing skills. One of the things I feel like humans often, especially in our ego state, have such a hard time with is dying to the old version of ourselves or letting go of how we've showed up to create more space. And so I know that all three of us are masters of this, and it would be part of the skill set is learning how to gracefully let go of old identities so that more capacity opens for you. And we don't always do that gracefully in our Western culture. That's enough said. So I just want to spend a minute going over the class that that starts in the fall. It says, as we said, a 6-month deep dive with the 7th bonus month. And so we just want to quickly talk through the topics. We start at the very beginning, where it's really about creating space and capacity for transformation. We often try to add even more to our already overscheduled and overfilled lives. And instead, we want to open space and open a portal in which we can deepen our connection with ourselves and the interconnected and all levels of being and knowing. The second module is dedicated to broadening your perspectives and building communication and leadership skills, all of them curated to help you facilitate personal and professional mastery. And then in the third month, walking the path of transformation, leading yourself and others. In other words, we want you to really start to notice what it takes we can all make a change, but it's much easier for us to go back to the old way. So how do we actually walk the path day after day and lead ourselves in a way that helps us then turn around both through our formal and informal connections with others, lead them through their own process of transformation. Moving into the 4th month is all about how do we embody it? How do we expand our capacity in the energetic realm? How do we expand our capacity in the communication realm? And how does all of that help us embody the transformation we're going through? And then living the path is the 5th month of evolutionary transformation. We really believe collectively that, we all have the capacity to lead as a modern mystic. And so all of this work is meant to help you move through your life in a way that really supports you as a modern mystic, as a way shower, as someone who holds wisdom for those who will follow you, etc. So it's really, that's part of our heart song, is helping people live the path of evolutionary transformation. And then the 6th month is all about what are the structures to sustain that transformation, and how do we cultivate a way of life that creates mastery on an ongoing basis. And it'll be about a number of things, practices and support systems. We mentioned early on that really the vision of this company is to really provide a global, national, local community, several layers of community, all dedicated to this new way of being, so that we can co-create consciously a new era that we all want to live in. And so that's really part of that 6th module. The 7th bonus month, as we mentioned, is really about a time of integration, a time of celebrating, a time of sharing and support, just to check in and make sure everyone is doing well in their process and having what they need to continue beyond the small, 6-month deep dive that we do. So that's a quick overview of our program. And as Michele mentioned, I'll just highlight before I dive into the modules, it's a combination of self-learning, some live weeks, and some other activities in between, including people having a chance to demonstrate skill and step into their own level of mastery being witnessed by those in community with them. So just wanted to give a little more detail. So this is from our module 5, a look at the objectives to give you just a sense of what we're offering: living the path of evolutionary transformation, leading as a modern mystic. So we're going to look at literature on neuroscience and quantum physics, which, again, there are many things that have been pointing this way for a long time, and we're going to take a look at those. Look at multidimensional mindfulness. So not just what are my clairs or how do I find my intuition, but really how do I stay present to those multiple ways of knowing as I move through my world. And look at a framework for multidimensional health and living. Explore integrating all of the intelligences. We have so much available to us. How do we integrate those so that we have whatever tool is needed in the moment? And to me, when I think about that objective, I think about the fact that when I operate mostly from my ego, which really helps me move very safely through the 3-dimensional world, so we never want to lose it. But often when we are in our ego, everything is a nail, therefore we are always a hammer. But when we're in this larger expanded capacity, we can be whatever tool is needed for what's showing up. And that to me is one of the gifts of having access to my multi-dimensional intelligence and just ways of knowing. We'll talk about discovering being human as a living mystic. What does it really mean for each of us? Each of us will have a different way of doing that. Nina, Michele, and I think all in our own way, work with people who want to live in a deeply authentic way that is aligned with what we I think of it as like an energy blueprint. Each of us comes with an energy blueprint. And when we know that and we align with that, we move through the world in a way that facilitates our best life and the best life of others. And so that's part of being a living mystic. Also demonstrating facilitative leadership. Part of what's needed in our world, and I don't think this is a surprise, is that we need to be more collaborative. We need to be having dialogues. We need to be curious and create more trust and safe space. And so we really want to foster those skills as we work with people going through the program. And then the last part is, the integration. How do we take all of these pieces and integrate them into all areas of our life? So multidimensional living is, I just love this quote at the top. To be multidimensional is to have your reality focused in multiple dimensions at once. Michele had mentioned all the, the many ways she can pay attention. Nina talked about the clairs, but even beyond that, there sometimes are things beyond our clairs that we can pick up on. And so you can be in several dimensions at one time, and you can move throughout them. It's sort of, all three of us do practices that help us move from, maybe we start very to the edge of our skin, in our awareness, and then practice expanding. How can we feel into different parts, even if we don't have language for it yet? Like, what does it feel like to imagine I'm connecting with the galaxy or the universe? What does it feel like to imagine I'm connecting with my source and they're connecting back with me, and the energy matrix, and so many levels? And there's just so much available in that place. And some of the language we use is the universal life force energy. And I'm thinking maybe I'll wait till the end. I'll do the practice at the end. But this idea that I love the visual of all the many ways we can be connected on this slide. And we saved this slide. We're repeating it for those who are in the first one, but really we think it's so important. This is a piece that we weave through every session, is really, it is about your life purpose, your meaning, and your value. And that will change and evolve as you grow your awareness, as you expand the many ways you're being. You know, if the more you're multidimensional in your daily life, the more your life purpose, meaning, and values will shift and evolve. And I love this quote: you must first be who you really are, then do what you are here and need to do in order to have what you most authentically yearn for. So I think that is a beautiful insight. And as we mentioned, we are so focused on creating community, and we know that word is highly overused, right? What does community mean anymore? It's so everybody's building a community, but we really want to create sort of what we think of as a think tank, a place where people can come and share their personal development stories, be held in the tough, tight places of transformation and trauma, be challenged to stretch and grow, and maybe not have language yet for what we're experiencing, but trust it anyway. There are so many parts of what's available that we want to create in our community, and it really taps into expanded consciousness, creativity, and greater potential for every single person involved. And I'm going to leave up this, this is, you know, our contact information, and, you know, we're so excited to share with you a little more. I would like to end with an experiential that's going to allow us to all access some more of our expanded multidimensional living in this moment. So I will invite each of you to find a comfortable position that allows your body and your mind to be as relaxed as possible. Yeah, a little wiggling. Thanks, Michelle, for that demonstration. Like whatever our bodies need to just let go, and maybe some sighing if that works for you, to just let everything. Yeah, there you go. I can feel the relaxation. So we're just going to call in that place in us that is deeply relaxed, trusting, knowing, seeing, feeling, hearing, beyond trying to figure out how to survive our daily life. We have access to so much more. And so with our breath, we take a few deeper, slower breaths and see if we can move from that place of individual consciousness to our, you know, the end of our skin, to a place where we start to feel how interconnected we are with all beings, all experiences, all energy. And we celebrate in this place the way we experience the world. How do we know what we know? How do we navigate when there's a big decision to make? What really lights us up and makes us feel filled with joy and light? When do we feel most alive, on purpose, filled with meaning? Can we imagine that right now, in this relaxed, open, interconnected state, we could reach out and touch a star, touch a planet, expand and feel part of the universe? Open, if our feet are on the ground, to imagining that we are connected to the earth, Mother Earth, the great transmuter, the holder, she that provides nutrition, support, grounding. that we can draw up her wisdom, insights, intuition, knowing right through our physical body. Some people choose to imagine they have roots growing down into the earth as a way to feel more grounded and stable when things are tumultuous. Other people imagine drawing up her nutrition, which we all need, right through the bottom of their feet. Whatever feels best to you, play with how you can connect with the Mother Earth energy. And it's not about thinking too hard, it's about relaxing, trusting. And then at the same time, as you're connecting with Mother Earth, I invite you to expand your awareness to 8 inches above your head, roughly. A place where we can connect with universal wisdom, source energy, whatever you call it, whatever name feels right to you. Where insights, new information, new perspectives, new ways of knowing, new skills can all just come to us in a moment if we simply allow. And in some traditions, they talk about opening ourselves like a hollow bone. So can we open to the wider universe, to the expanse like a hollow bone, and see what is trying to get our attention? What information might be coming through us to serve our life and the lives of others? Who we are being called to be as we move into this new era. What part are you being asked to play? I can feel the sense of a beautiful orchestra, so many instruments, each playing their part, working together, some on the physical plane, some not. All here to co-create this new possibility that we don't even know yet, and trusting each person to do their part. And at the same time, we are so expanded. I feel this delight of the playfulness that's available, the creativity, the inner child blowing bubbles. We are not meant to toil and labor endlessly, always be serious and on guard. We can also bring the delights of our humanity to this expression we are meant to bring through this world. So there is something available beyond all of our clairs and our ways of knowing and our multidimensional living that is about full expression, unique full expression. And I invite you to feel that for yourself right now. And as Nina's beautiful reading in the beginning, each of us, when we are soul aligned and sharing our fullness, are wanted and needed in this world. And it's time we bring that fullness forward. So with that, I invite you to keep this expanded awareness for a little bit longer, but you might start bringing your attention to your body as you breathe. You might start stretching a little or moving just to help get fully back here. And as you do, I celebrate each of your beautiful expressions, unique energies, and many ways of knowing as I welcome you back. These beautiful souls.
So we'll open the floor here for 10 minutes or so left. Questions, comments, intuition, other things that have arisen. I want to invite you into the room, Lisa. I know you are a mystic and an intuitive woman yourself. So I don't know if you have anything you would like to add, share about what's been shared so far, or your own experience.
Well, this is great. I excuse me. The whole Claire's thing has been just in the last probably 2-3 months has really come up, and it's something I've known that I am. Like I'm the knowing one, so Claire cognizant or whatever. And then the last one that was on the sheet, which I always have to write them down because I can't ever remember them. So it's just one of those things. But that all of this has been coming up in multiple places, which for me, and I think a lot of people who are like us are like going, oh, good. Like here we go. Like this is the exact right time we're supposed to be here. And we get to like have all of our stuff. Like now, like, here you go. Here's what we offer. Yay. So it's very exciting, very exciting. I'm watching Michelle's dog and he's having a little tantrum. It's like, yes, go on. Yes, I know you want to be part. You want to be part of it. Yeah. This is not my dog. This is Michelle's dog. Okay, get down. Go on. Go have Dylan take you out. Thank you. So yeah, so that has been just in having everything come in with this too. Okay. I'm just like, I'm so excited to be part of this and I'm gonna have to let you go. Sorry.
It's okay.
Thank you. Yeah, I was thinking too, it's fun to be among each other when we all have some Claires developing that have developed, because in our telling of the story to each other, it accelerates. I don't know if it's permission or right. It's sort of like the validation in and of itself in community among those of us who have some access to that really validates and supports my own continued development. And I'm also thinking about, for instance, like children, right? If we're around us and we are open to knowing our Claires, then we can normalize that in our clients, right? And those people in our community and say, yep, it's a part of being human. And no, not everyone pays attention at that level, but that kind of validation, I think, is really helpful and fun to be around, to be included in those conversations. And another point that was made earlier, I think both by you, Theresa and Nina, and I remember the first time someone told me this, that some of our intuitive capacity and to pay attention to subtle energies comes as a way of protection, comes because somebody around us is moody, or somebody around us flies off the handle and gets triggered, is overly reactive, right? And we don't feel safe. We feel it's a sense of danger. So that kind of putting our feelers out, right, and being a little Geiger counters, often that gets developed from a place of not feeling safe. And it can even develop from a traumatic experience. And so how do we move through and heal some of that in this moment? I don't need to be protected, but I want to remain in the gift of being open to the energy. And I think that's another part during this longer deep dive, but it's a takeaway for today, to know that it's okay however we've come across these gifts, whether it's nature or nurture, whether we've developed them, whether we needed them to protect ourselves, they're a gift. And we need to continue our own healing process, being able to set down, for me, the association from I need to be having this open to stay safe, to I don't in this moment. I can remain in that open intuitive capacity and remove that experience from anything that's requiring protection or was in danger. So you both mentioned it, and it was a worthy highlight.
Well, and that really speaks, Michele, to the aspects of this course in which we will have the opportunity to explore reframing some of those aspects of our knowing and of our experiences so that we can reintegrate lost fragments of ourselves, parts of ourselves that have been fragmented, and that helps to kind of recreate this new framework for perception and our capacity for our deeper perception as we release those maybe ancestral patterns or those learned sensory methods and techniques that we develop as early as childhood to self-protect. And I'm really glad you brought that up.
Thanks, Nina. I was going to go in a different direction, and Lisa, I'll be curious about your insight. One of the things that strikes me about the Claires, and I think about it in particular in leadership, I'm sure the two of you, Michele and Nina, and I don't know you very well, Lisa, but I'm trusting you too have had similar experiences, is people have often said to me something to the effect of, there's just something about you. You can size things up really quickly. And I think, so we can apply it to so many things. I think sometimes people imagine what is perhaps woo-woo, I'm going to put it in quotation marks for fun, skills are only applicable when you're doing, let's say, energy healing or something else. But I've actually found they are enormously helpful as I lead, as I make choices in an informal leadership way in the world, as I do so many things that require me perhaps stepping up in a change agency type of way. And so I wanted to make the tie back to leadership, because I feel like beyond coaching, the Claires are just critical to high level thought leaders doing whatever kind of leadership work they are doing in the world. So Lisa, I know you had to step out, but I didn't know if you had anything to say on that topic or any other comment.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. I find that with doing, well, like, here's the thing, like, I'm like going, I'm hearing like the message, I'm supposed to be like, wait, tell me how to say this. So honestly, that happens like 95% of the time. I'm actually listening for what actually should come out of my mouth instead of just saying what I think. So the part of that with the Claires and people who have this, fantastic, I'll say ability, without a better word, and then in leadership, I've been asked, I would say more often now than not, asked to actually come in and go, okay, how do we do this? What is coming to you that you can give clarity to? So Michele knows I work for a woman who is a naturopath, and I do a ton of stuff with her in the whole naturopath area. So I'm helping with clients in the, making sure we're taking care of them the best we can. And she does too. She too has that. And so, being asked to be able to serve in that way is really what I feel is coming up more and more. And I do use it in my coaching. I have a whole process that I have been taught in my coaching training that I use for pretty much everything. And that's what works. So even people have asked me, it's just like, can I use this? And I'm like, you absolutely can. So it's a nice way to be in the world, to honestly, being thought of as a leader was not my norm until after I turned 60. So there you go. That was the deal.
Thank you, Lisa. I love it. You're a sage woman now, right?
Yeah.
You have so much wisdom collected. And two things you said that I really appreciated, I wanted to highlight, and I want to make room for Nina and Michele, but right, like, we're not just getting the information, but we have to actually translate it and we have to trust it. And you said both of those in your own way. So I wanted to highlight part of our work with the Claires is being open to it, then translating it and trusting it. So thank you. I really appreciated what you said about that.
Yeah, and you really just speak brilliantly to, you know, the new era and how we are energetically and emotionally, mentally being called to really be embodied in how we are showing up. And we're really being called to step into our felt sense of embodied leadership. You know, and to your point, the world is needing those of us who have been the seers and the sensitives and the compassionate beings in the world who have, you know, experienced years of training and years of development. And we're being asked to integrate it all now and really elevate into our own personal embodied perspective and approach to how we can be our best in serving ourselves and in living and loving and being in service to those that come to us. So thank you for that.
Well, we'll wrap up our conversation for today. I'm really touched by the understanding in this conversation about the integration of these skills, right, of leadership, of stepping up, of being seen, of being visible, living at our full potential, inviting others to live at their full potential. And that in the skills themselves are about everyday being human. Right? How do we be human at our full blossomed condition so that the fruits of our gifts can nourish the world? And it's really a lovely demonstration in this conversation about the principles that we're talking about moving from competition and playing small and being afraid, right, to owning our gifts, to opening to our multidimensional ways of being and knowing, and to be of service formally and informally throughout our day. So it's been a delight, ladies, to spend some time with you today. And until we meet again, blessings all around.
Take care and be well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. See you.